Yeah, I think when we say reintegration, we're taking into account a number of different things. We're taking into account coming back home, leaving a culture that we're fairly familiar with, and then maybe different things that carry along from our time in service, to include wounds of war as well as other transitional issues. But one of the big pieces that we hear from veterans, which was what I touched on earlier, which was the connection to something larger and the fact that you have a team when you're in the service. Reintegration, where AmeriCorps or National Service fits in, is an opportunity to plug an individual back into those type of things, like I was saying earlier. The opportunity to have a team when you come home. So if you do have to struggle with certain, service-related injuries or anything like that, you're not doing it on your own. Um, so.
Okay. Amber, what about you? What is it about, from your perspective as somebody who's currently serving as an AmeriCorps Vista, what is it about national service that helps make veteran reintegration to civilian life? What kind of a role does it play?
It really allows us to showcase the different abilities that we have, not just our leadership abilities, but different things around the office, teamwork, team building, capacity building, things like that. It allows us to get back out into society and to show people that not only are we skilled, that we still have that desire to serve our community. And when they see that, they respond far better than they do to, different reports of veterans doing things like, killing other people, things like that, because that gives them a really bad impression of the entire pool of veterans.
Mhm.
Tony, you deal with this on a much broader scale at points of life, but what's your take on this as far as the issue of reintegration? What kind of a role do you think national service plays in helping veterans to reintegrate to civilian life?
Well, well, I think national service plays a critical role. It really helps build veteran skills and gives them the tools they need to try to figure out what they're going to do in the next phase of their lives. So, serving national service positions such as Veteran Corps or some of the other programs allows them to build the skill sets they need to be successful in their civilian lives and as they move forward.
Okay.
Can I piggyback off of that real quick?
Sure, absolutely. Please go ahead, Jason.
I'm sorry. I mean, there was a veteran I was working with, a vet corps member, a little bit last week, and he was a Marine, and he served a few years, and he come back, and he said that now that I'm back home, I'm just another boob on the street. And vet corps was an opportunity. Our vet corps was an opportunity for him to highlight some of those skills that he does bring back to the community, and an opportunity for some of what Amber was saying. These skills that are outside of leadership or outside of what we associate with military skills were definitely valued within his community. The opportunity to do fundraisers and work for the college, connect other service programs in the area and stuff like that. So I see national service as a way for those skills. Yes, just piggybacking on everybody. I really wanted to. Sorry.
No, I'm glad you did. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Can I
add
something,
Lauren? Go ahead, Lauren.
And also, it gives veterans a chance to get into national service and go into the nonprofit sector, which is severely underrepresented when you're going to these veterans hiring fairs. A lot of people are drawn to national service because they want to give back, and the nonprofit world is a chance to do that. And you're, as an AmeriCorps Vista or as an AmeriCorps member, you are learning those skills to work in partnership with nonprofits that you would not get normally. And a lot of people transition from the military into a similar job, but just as a civilian. But this gives you an opportunity to do a whole new thing.
Okay. Well, kind of piggybacking off of that, and Lauren, I'll go ahead and stick with you, and we'll go around the panel once again on this. But what do you think, again, working from your perspective as a military spouse and someone who works with veterans, what do you think can be done to strengthen that relationship between military and civilian service, those making the transition from military life into civilian life?
I think Amber made a great point. There's so many negative things out there about what veterans and military family members are experiencing. We need to focus more on the positive and look at the skill sets that people have. I mean, there's no other job in the world that gives supervisory experience to someone who is 19 or 20 years old. So they're already going into management roles in the military, as staff sergeants or sergeants, and people take that for granted. They think, oh, you're in the military, you don't have a particular management skill set, but that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to lead, and they're really good at bringing people together. And I think that having the civilian community understand that is something that we need to work at.
Amber, I'm going to go ahead and come back to you, and because you did make that point. But what do you think could be done to strengthen that relationship between military and civilian service?
I feel like a lot of veterans don't know about these opportunities. So actually, more visibility to these opportunities for veterans to find and get into, because a lot of them don't know, and it seems like there's really nobody out there kind of letting them know. I found out about AmeriCorps through another veteran at Mission Continues who had done AmeriCorps as well. So if it hadn't been for my fellowship there, I might not have ever even known about AmeriCorps.
Tony, you see this on a kind of again on a much broader scale nationwide, but would you echo a lot of that sentiment that people just coming out of the military just don't know about civilian service as an option?
I would. I think it's important for us, particularly those folks who know about these programs, to really engage with the base installations. And the Army is launching a new program called the Army Corporate Councils to really invite nonprofits and these other programs in so they can speak to the service members as they begin their transition. I think it's critical for us to really ensure that civilians don't look at veterans as a hand out and look at them more as a hand up. I think that's a change that we have to start making in our communities and our mindset. I know that's one of the things that Colonel Sutherland has talked about in his Sea of Goodwill paper and those type of things. So we really need to start trying to help veterans and help the civilian community understand the need for veterans to be seen as someone that can be useful in the community, not just someone that's a plague on the community, really. So.
Okay, and Jason, in your position in the state of Washington, again, do you think this is a case where people just don't know about it, and how do we get the word out?
I definitely think that there could be a better job done getting the word out to individual veterans as they're fresh in the transition process. We've had good success with reaching out to our Joint Base Lewis McChord's ACAP program and letting transitioning soldiers know that there's opportunities for national service in the state of Washington. Now that can't be said for nationwide and whatnot like that. So definitely think that more communication in that area would be beneficial. I also think that there also needs to be a readiness for national service and nonprofit sector and everything like that to be able to take these veterans in leadership roles and be able to understand that they bring these type of skills. I think that Tony was very well spoken on the fact that it needs to be a hand up, not a hand out, and the opportunity for veterans to then serve other veterans, serve their communities and whatnot. Yes.
Okay, so I guess one question that